Everyone, hi. Bruce Mufson, LCSW, coming at you with another video breakdown from SUNRIDGE, Nevada. Tonight we're going to be doing, again, the latest song for us on the album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar, and the song is going to be Father Time. First, a little bit to explain what's been going on with us. We had some issues with our last channel, so what we did was make a new channel, and going forward it's going to be SUNRIDGE, Nevada. But we are making new videos every week. We're going to go back to the live streams as well. We have a lot of exciting new ideas coming up in the next few months that, of course, we will be willing to share with you, our fans. As always, any questions you have, feel free to email us. And as always, again, all the answers could be found in the description box. A little bit about myself. I graduated from the University of Georgia with a master's in social work, and I have over 25 years of experience in working with people with mental health issues. I have done thousands and thousands of assessments from the ages of 3 to 83, worked with thousands of people, and I've spent a lot of my career going to people's homes to get a better understanding of what people are dealing with. I've worked inpatient, I've worked outpatient, and I've also gone into the correctional system to interview adolescents and adults who are suffering from mental health issues. As a result, I have testified in court hundreds of times about people's mental health issues and behaviors towards, of course, the judge, the assistant district attorney, and the public defender to come up with the best plan. In addition, I have done an extensive amount of public speaking, mostly to law enforcement, mostly corrections, on how to work better with the mentally ill. And to maintain my license, which I have to renew every year, I have to have 36 CEU credits for every 2 years to maintain my license. Okay, here we are. Let's go forward. This is Father Time, the 5th song from Kendrick Lamar, of course, his latest album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Here we go. And as always, I want to remind everybody, I'm only going to be breaking down the lines that I find clinically significant to me. All right, so you can follow along. All right, the song is called Father Time, and it's interesting to me because, give a shout out to genius.com, we use the lyrics from that site, and they make a reference to Father Time, and they say, well, it's a reference to, everyone knows what I'm talking about, the old guy with the long white beard, and he's holding like an hourglass or a scythe, and that's what they were referring it to. And I took it a different way because this song is very much about parental issues, as he talks about, where Kendrick says daddy issues. Father Time to me is a reference, a play on the words, father, time. That to be a great father, you got to put the time in. And Kendrick talks about that, and I'll go into it in a second, about his experiences with his own father. And I think for so many people that resonated with this song and really got into it, father, time. When you don't have a father putting in the time, things do not go well. All right, here we go. The opening of the song, the intro, he's with his girlfriend and they're talking, and she says to him at the end of the intro, reach out to Eckhart. Okay, who is Eckhart? And the full name is Eckhart Tolle. He was born in Germany, and he is what's known as a spiritual teacher, has a very, very large following, and his focus, he's written several bestseller books, is to live in the moment and to be in the present. So when the girlfriend is referencing Eckhart, that's the person's full name. I wanted to clarify that. All right, going forward, in verse 1, and this song was a grabber from the very beginning because it's like he's getting a lot of stuff off his chest. He's like shouting out a lot of themes and things that have bothered him. And he's trying to come to grips with them. And it takes a lot of guts and courage to do that. So everything them four walls had taught me made habits bury deep. Boy, those two lines, powerful for me. Because sometimes what you were taught is not exactly the best knowledge and information. And when you get things that they teach you that are really not that helpful, you wake up and you get old and you realize, you know what, I want to bury them. I don't want to bring them up because they weren't useful and they were in a lot of ways useless. And you know what? I've been there myself. I know exactly what he's talking about. A lot of things I grew up listening to from my own dad turned out to be at best useless, at worst set me back. Okay, Going across in verse 1 still, he brings up the reference of basketball. And it's interesting to me because that was always been my favorite sport growing up. I loved basketball as a kid. I played it for hours in the park. God, I could watch basketball all day long. I just love basketball. It's my favorite sport. And he goes, Daddy issues across my head, told me blank a foul. I'm teary-eyed, want to throw my hands. I won't think out loud. A foolish pride if I lose again, I won't go into the house. This is a mistake that so many adult males make with their children, and it doesn't necessarily reflect just boys, it's girls too. You have to prove courage and being a man, or I guess not today, but being a girl, by taking a beating and having false toughness. You often wind up hating the sport you once loved. And it happens so often. One of the commenters actually said that. He said, my father made it basically, to paraphrase, playing sports so miserable that I didn't even go D1 because I couldn't enjoy what I was doing. I just learned to just dislike it. And what comes up to my mind is Brian Bosworth. I'd seen an interview where he was with his son going through a storage locker and seeing all the stuff he had accumulated over his career. And he said to his son, I never could make my dad happy. If I had 2 sacks in a game, he wanted to know why I didn't have 4. If I had 8 tackles, why didn't I have 13? Why didn't I get a fumble? And for those of you that follow sports, he was a big, big deal about 30 years ago. And he played in the NFL for a number of years. But he just said it wasn't a good environment. I didn't really enjoy the game because my dad never made it pleasurable, never said, son, great game, I'm proud of you. So just, I'm going to go back and forth between Kendrick and fatherhood. Make it pleasurable for your kids. All right, next. I stayed outside laughing with my friends. They don't know my life. Oh, boy. Could relate to those 2 lines. And so often in life, when you don't have that things in sync, you get dysfunction and you get the masks. Oh, I know about the masks. So what happens a lot of times with kids who have unfortunately rough home lives, what do they turn into? They turn into the class clown, the life of the party, because you don't want your friends to know your life. And so often this is a breeding ground for gang involvement because you're not getting what you need at home. So where are you going to go find it? In the arms of other guys that are just like you, that don't have a father, and are drawn into the myth that the gang, what do they always say? We're your family. They're not kidding. All right, then going back down, it says, oh, this the part, he breaks my humility just for practice. Oh, the good old days. I went through those myself. If I destroy his confidence and sense of self, he's going to come back twice as hard. He's going to be a real man. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Not true. What's going to happen? You become gun shy and tentative because you don't have any confidence in yourself. All you're waiting for is to be screamed at, cursed at, yelled at, humiliated. So how are you going to have any confidence when you're in the huddle, when you're bringing the ball up, when you're skating to the blue line? You don't have any confidence in yourself. Not to leave out soccer, kicking that ball, but you're not going to be a successful athlete. Okay, the chorus, which is from Sanford, goes, early morning wake up, practicing on days off, tough love, bottled up, no chaser. All right, here's the thing. As a dad, you have to kind of stop and listen to your kid and see where your kid's coming from. Do they really enjoy it? Are they going through the motions? Because to get up at like 6 o'clock to go to practices, or go to the park, or go to a coach, are they really, really into it? Or were they just going through the motions? And who are you really doing it for? Is it for you because you didn't get what you wanted athletically? Or is it for your kid? And ask your kid, do you really enjoy getting up at 5 o'clock to drive an hour to the ice rink and change and hit the ice at 6:30? Is that what you really want to be doing, son? Because that's what it's going to take to have an impact on your game. So ask that question. Then it goes in verse 2. Looking for I love you, rarely empathizing for my relief. I broke this down. I said, it's amazing how often people have told me this, white, black, brown, yellow, and it has not changed in over 25 years of doing this, that no one ever said to them, including their dad, that was the big one, I love you. Never heard it. Number two, the expression, looking for love in all the wrong places. If you don't get it at home, you're going to find it in the streets. And for girls, it's going to mean terrible choices in relationships. And for guys, straight into the gang lifestyle. Straight. Number three, watch the movie adaptation of the play Fences, and also read the play. The play is very good too, by August Wilson, I believe, set in Pittsburgh in the 50s. And Denzel plays a guy who drives a garbage truck, blah, blah, blah. And his son is a up-and-coming football player, and Denzel was a baseball player. And there's a point where the son says to the father, I don't think you love me. Do you love me? And Denzel gives a stereotypical, I don't have to love you. I have to raise you. I have to teach you. And the play does a good job of showing how the son feels about this. And his dreams are thwarted, and he doesn't get a chance to excel. And why is the play called Fences? The fences that we build around ourselves not to show emotion. Say these words to your kids. I don't care how young they are. I don't care how old they are. I love you. I don't care if your kid's 50 and you're 82 and you're starting to become senile. Say, I love you. You know, and just say these words. Daddy issues, going a little further down. Hid my emotions, never expressed myself. Men should never show feelings. Being sensitive never helped. Who wrote that? I mean, it's such a cliche that has been proven to be so wrong. Hiding your emotions does not make you strong. Now, people are going to think I'm going to say it makes you weak. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you confused. That's the problem. And unable to respond. Don't cry. Don't talk about it. This has destroyed generations of kids because they were taught to be tough, and you don't give anything to your children. You got to make them hard. Fantasy, show your emotions. Going further down, he goes, protect. This is what the father's saying to Kendrick. Protect yourself, trust nobody, only your mom and mama and him. This made relationships seem cloudy, never attached to none. So if you took some likings around me, I might reject the love. Yeah. To keep it tight. Only family. Of course we want family. Of course I want to see strong families. But when you get that mindset, it's us against the world, you close yourself off. So when you're ready to have a relationship, you have no clue how to have one because it's us against everyone else. Terrible advice. You don't know how to feel. You don't know how to empathize with other people. You don't know how to bond with other people. And you have a weird sense of love. It's very artificial. I noticed that with other musicians that we've covered, just watching their videos, their idea of love is so odd and it's like it's made up. Love is having drugs to share. Love is paying for everybody. Love is having no one around me. It's like just weird. But that's what happens. And 5, you just have your shields up, and you know what happens? Your kids are going to hurt. Then going down, it goes, my blank ain't got no daddy. We're coming to the end. Grow up overcompensating. Learn blank about being a man and disguise it as being gangster. Whoa. Those 4 lines hit home for me because I've gone to hundreds of homes and I've gone to conferences. I've had meetings with law enforcement. And I would say the gangs are made up of kids that have no love. And the older guys know this and seduce them. It's this. There's a whole different mindset here. And everyone's like, no. Don't say that, Bruce. Don't say that. I said, don't you get the idea of the OG kind of really representing a father? Oh, no. I've been saying this for decades. And of course, no one listens, but that is my take on it. And you want to know the truth? The one way you would destroy gangs and put a hole in their recruiting system It's not law enforcement. It's not the prison system. If you had a committed father that was involved with their son and daughter, gangs would have no one to recruit from. They'd have to offer like a starting salary, like all kinds of perks, because my dad doesn't want to let me do this. My dad says, get away from him, leave him alone. That's what's the most, that would destroy gangs right off the bat if you had a committed father. And and he's right, because the whole thing about disguising as being gangster, all you learn is how to fool yourself and live a lie. It's so sad to me how certain topics, like certain words, become part of the lexicon of language. You gangster. Oh, that's gangster. Oh, you're gangster. Like that's something to be proud of. Oh, that's so gangster, man. That outfit, that's gangster. That jewelry, gangster. Oh, that car, that's gangster, gangster. Like it's become a verb, noun, adjective, fits everything. But it's so false and it's so fake, and it just screams out that false pride that gets you killed or put into prison, where you're stuck in that system going around and around. Because he didn't want anything. Everything he didn't want was everything I was. And to my partners that figured it out without a father, I salute you. May your blessings be neutral to your toddlers. I broke it down, but I wanted to say all the 6 lines at once because a great crescendo of lines. Bam, bam, bam. Because everything he didn't want was everything I was. Yeah, you think you're planting roses by being this kind of person. You know what? You're planting thorns. It's not going to be a healthy growing up. What comes through that earth is not what you planned for, not what you wanted. I know that from experience. And to my partners that figured it out without a father, figured it out. You don't figure it out. Honestly, I didn't figure it out. It took me years, probably better part of a decade to figure myself out. I would have killed to have a father that would have had invested in me and really gave me some clues how to go forward. That's what separates me as a counselor, by the way. Because when I sit with people, I, not on purpose, but I become like the father figure to give them a sense of direction and what I have as expectations for them. And they look at me like someone cares about me, to give me structure, to give me a sense of self. That's what separates me. To those of you that read it again, and to my partners that figured it out without a father, why do you have to go through that? That's terrible. It takes so long and you have to make so many mistakes along the way. I learned everything the hard way, and I still make mistakes because I'm still learning how to get past the stupidity I had growing up and the terrible messages. I salute you. This is a good, interesting 2 lines. Everyone just listen to this one. May your blessings be neutral to your toddlers. Whoa, check out the play on words there. May your blessings be neutral. Normally, blessings are going to be positive. Why does Kendrick say neutral? It's a play on words. Very clever. May it be that whatever terrible advice you give your kids, okay, be neutral and does not wind up infecting them. That's what he meant by that, because he says it so many times, so eloquently. The information he got didn't help him. Didn't make him better. Didn't make him stronger. It held him back. Okay. This is a great song. I love this song. I listen to it like over and over and over again. Because here's a guy that has the guts to open himself up, and I respect that tremendously, and talk about what he did not get growing up and how it has affected him all of his life, and he now understands the damage that has caused him. I can relate to this. And, you know, it's so interesting how he comes on this. I'm going to read you something from a site I took called All Pro Dad. I could have taken it from like 5,000 sites. There's all these things for fathers, whatever. List of 10 things kids want from you that you need to provide. Love the kid's mother. Okay, you love the kid's mother. And they say like respect the mother, even if you get divorced, respect. Love the kid's mother by being honest in the relationship. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. Don't take advantage of the woman. It's a soul-crushing situation, and the kids are affected by that. Trust me. You get divorced is one thing. but be faithful in the marriage and be invested to that woman. Is she everything you wanted 20 years later? Okay, you know what? You're not probably either. Be realistic. Number two, love your kids unconditionally. Whatever they turn out to be happy. Be in their corner. Be their biggest champion. Who else is it going to be? The drug dealer? The gangbanger? The guy that tells your daughter to send topless photos of herself? That's who you want? Love them. They need that from you. They crave it. Like that's the true drug. Grow up. They got to count on you. Can't be doing the dumb stuff you did at 17 when you're 37. You got to be a man. You got to take care of these kids. Be there. When I say father time, be there. Don't be absent. Be involved. I get that so many times. I go in the houses. I'm talking to the mom, and I'm like, well, is your husband here? Your boyfriend here? Well, he's not going to be here tonight. Not going to be here tonight? Well, get him. This involves him. So many times I went into these homes. Like I knew it was tsunami time. No man in the house. Where is the man? Okay, provide. Meaning provide financially. I'm getting old. I'm going to be 60 this year. And next year, whatever. And I kill myself financially for my family. Provide for them. Things happen, of course, in life. But if you can provide, I do without so my kids can have more. Be honest about that. Discipline. Okay, not with the hitting and the verbal abuse and the snarky comments to destroy somebody. Provide discipline means provide healthy boundaries. I don't want you to do drugs for this reason. I want you to stay in school for this reason. I want you to stick with this sport for this reason. I want to show you what good mentality is versus a negative one. That's what discipline is. Being there to give them the structure and things they can bounce off of that only a father can. Value the education. Of course. You want your kid to go beyond? You got to push that. You can do more. You can do more. It's amazing how many kids I've worked with, like their goals were so weak and they had nothing formed. Oh, I can only do this. Who told you that? Push yourself because no one's pushing them. So what's going to push you? The drug dealer, the gangbanger. Oh yeah, you're ready to hold the gun for us. You're ready to move some weight for us. What's that from? Value the education. Raise them to leave. Give them the confidence that they can one day leave the home and be functional. Not going to live with you when they're 47 years old. There's something odd about that. Teach them responsibility, of course, and teach them to love the life that they're in. Makes sense. Let me explain a little bit about myself. I grew up in a dysfunctional family, and it was not fun. It was not enjoyable. It was very painful in a lot of ways. My dad was not a good father to my mother, and certainly not a good father to me. And now, at almost 60, I'm still picking out bits of shrapnel out of me that unfortunately I'm probably going to be picking out till the day I die. Not great. When he made that comment about all the guys that finally learned it on their own. Yeah, you learn it, for the next 60, 70 years of your life. You don't want to go through life that way. You don't want to learn lessons that way. It's not a good way to do it. And, you wind up growing diminished and not being the man you could have been. That's what kills me about dysfunctional families and kids that get affected by this. You could have been a 10, you end up being a 6. You could have been a 9, you end up being a 4. That's not healthy. So many of the comments, I could relate to this. You hear people saying over and over again, I relate to this, Kendrick. I grew up in this kind of house. This is how I was raised. I finally learned at the age of 37 not to be like this. I'm finally being the man I need to be to my kids. This song struck home with a lot of people, obviously, and it hit a chord. Don't make the mistakes of the past and learn to show up, grow up, and get past what you experienced and free yourself from the shackles of stupidity that you were exposed to. I had to learn that again the hard way. So let us know in the comments, everyone that's watching this video, what was the moment that you grew up and became the father you were meant to be and learned to leave behind the craziness and the cuckoo that you were exposed to. Share with us. I want to hear what people have to say about this topic. In conclusion, okay, be real with yourself, referring to guys. If you don't have what it takes to be the father and to put the time in, then don't do it. Because you're only going to hurt people that are looking at you with those big eyes that little girl does, that he's holding. Like, I need you to protect me now, 365, 24/7. And if you can't do it, don't do it. Don't ruin people, because this is the hardest and most, I'm going to say hardest, but this is the most important job you will ever have in life, and take it that way. All right, I want to say one more thing. We've talked a lot about fatherhoods in our previous videos when we were on the other channel. And what I'd like to talk about, and this is the time for the emails, put it in the description box so my agent/producer can read them. Would you like to have something where we have a live stream, for a certain price to talk about fatherhood, what I learned, the mistakes I made, what I want you guys to do, make it interactive, because I got to have questions going forward. I don't want to have people anymore letting me talk for an hour, hour and 15. That happened in the past a little bit. We're not doing that anymore. You come on hard. You come on with questions, you come on with scenarios. And I'd like to have like several thousand people, quite frankly, log on at one time and talking about fatherhood. What do you want to get out of it? What are you looking to get? What do you think you were missing? What advice you want to give other fathers out there? And let me know if this is an interesting thing to you. I want to go forward with this, because we got a lot of great ideas coming up. With that, I'm going to conclude. Bruce Mufson, LCSW, Sunridge, Nevada. Thank you.